Let's go live now to the New South Wales Police Commissioner, Mick Fuller. Thanks so much for your time. I know how busy you are at the moment. Commissioner Fuller, what can we expect from police today?
Yeah, good morning, Laura. Look, Operation Stay at Home commenced over a week ago now, and we obviously then midnight last night we've seen an increase in our police powers, and I think what the public have seen is a police response probably like we haven't seen before on the streets of Sydney. So the enforcement really comes from police being out and about 24/7 and stopping people and just ensuring that people are complying with the health orders. And the second part of that, Laura, is that we receive information from the public, and we receive tens of thousands of Crime Stoppers reports for people who are clearly breaching the health orders.
We have a curfew. Is that because eventually you asked for it and you saw the need for it?
Absolutely, and we found in southwestern and western Sydney, which it is a huge part of Sydney, we were seeing a lack of compliance, and it was a real challenge for police in support of the health to stop the spread of the virus. And the measures that we continue to put in place just weren't stopping the spread. And so having a curfew just sends a clear message to everyone in those 12 LGAs that this is a problem. We all need to take it seriously. And a curfew in its sense, Laura, is very easy to apply for police in terms of being out there between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m.
Yeah, it seems like it would be easier for you to police that. And indeed, you say it's about this broader message, but at the same time, Gladys Berejiklian is talking about giving more freedom to the vaccinated this week. How difficult will that be for you?
Look, the health orders, no doubt, for police and the community, there are some challenges with them. But the reality is that many of the changes to the health orders has come about because their levels of people not complying were too high and the virus continues to spread. So I do have sympathy for anyone who has to write the health orders and for police who are out there and the community. But the reality is the health orders exist because people aren't doing the right thing. And look, from my perspective is that we know clearly from the health advice that if you've had one shot of the vaccine or two shots of the vaccine, then you are much less likely to pass it on. You're much less likely to get ill or unfortunately die. And I think making it easier for people to live their lives who have had two vaccines. And I think that's reasonable. And I'm happy to support that, to be honest with you, because that vaccination, the 80% vaccination rate, as we know, is a real key to getting back our freedoms.
So are you preparing to have your officers check people's phones for proof of vaccination like you have been checking for proof of ID?
Yeah, absolutely. But if that's the way the Premier and Cabinet crisis go in relation to changes in relation to the 80%, then we will certainly be right behind that. Okay. We are supportive of reducing any restrictions, if that means people can get back to living their lives as normally as possible.
And how many people are breaking that 5 kilometre rule at the moment?
Look, we are, in the last week, we've written nearly 8,000 infringements, which is 4 times what we wrote entire last year. Laura, just to give you some context of, I guess, people out there doing the wrong thing. Many of the tickets are for people who are out of home without a reasonable excuse. Many of those are for people not wearing face masks, and the rest is a mix of people like the 5 kilometre rule. And, I appreciate there has been some confusion. Police are still issuing cautions to people where that is appropriate, but we are certainly writing many more tickets than we did last year than we are giving cautions. But again, I gave fair warning to the people of New South Wales, and all those people who are doing the right thing had nothing to fear.
And what about New South Wales Health? How are you working with that body? Are they handing over information to you? I'm thinking of the Maroubra party for one. Have you got that information that you need from New South Wales Health?
We do have to accept the contact tracers have to do their job because that stops the spread of the virus. So we have to accept that sometimes it is more challenging if you're dealing with a challenging individual or group. It takes them some days sometimes to get the truth about who was there, what was happening, and where have they been since then. And as much as sometimes it is frustrating as the Commissioner, there is a delay. We will be dogged and we'll find out the names of those people. And once contact traces are finished, we will write them tickets like we did unfortunately with a group of churchgoers last night in Blacktown.
What happened with that? Can you tell us any more about that gathering?
Yeah, around 60 people, a number of children were in that. All of the adults had been issued infringements for being out of home for a reasonable excuse. The leader of that church has been issued a $5,000 fine as a premises, and at this, at the moment, I'm considering whether or not I put a closure order on that church, which is being assessed at the moment. But again, what do we expect from our community leaders, Laura? We expect them to do the right thing, and that really is sending a bad message to all the people of Western Sydney in terms of the challenges they're facing at the moment.
And what do you just say to the people calling Crime Stoppers at the moment, complaining about children drawing on driveways in chalk and perhaps kids in their own backyard jumping on a trampoline with no masks on?
Yeah, look, we've faced many challenges, New South Wales Police, in the last 20 months. Most people write or ring Crime Stoppers with very helpful information. So we do process those reasonably, and we don't send police out to kids on trampolines in backyards. But it is an important part to assist police with such a challenging job at the moment. And really, we've got 8 million people in this state, and we're trying to steer them all collectively in one direction. And it certainly is proving to be a challenge at times. But I still believe that there are most people doing the right thing.
And there was a guy on a horse yesterday up on the border. That's new for you and your officers?
I'm sorry, Laura, I just missed that.
There was a guy on a horse yesterday wanting to storm the border at Tweed Heads. That's new for you and your officers. Have you seen anything like that before?
Yeah, well, not since the opening of the Harbour Bridge, but nevertheless, we have faced some challenges during COVID, and people are, it is testing people's patience, but we do have to stay together on this. We've got to listen to the Premier and take the health advice. And the irony is that every time someone does something that puts our health in danger, that spreads the virus, it just extends the lockdown. I mean, this is the irony of the behaviour of the protesters on Saturday. They want their freedoms back, but all they're doing is potentially being super spreaders for the virus. So, when people do these activities during a pandemic, Laura, we need to take strong action, because really it's holding us all back from getting out of lockdown and these restrictions.
Well, Commissioner, we appreciate your time as always. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Laura.